Welcome back, guys. Brennan Pixels here. Now let us get into our activity for today. So we'll be vectorizing a design I made some time ago. Don't mind these colors here. I imported them for the design. First of all, you're going to have to import the sketch, but even further, first you're going to have to first of all set up this workspace the way it is right now. First things, you want to make sure you set this to Essential Classic. Then next thing, I'm going to have to import my sketch. Now I want to say something, I want to put it out there. Now, you mustn't import sketches. Sometimes some people design logos without sketches. They just, they have the ideas in their head and they just begin to design whatever it is they think they want to design, which is also fine. But if you have a sketch and you want to follow that sketch, it's important, or it's advised to import that sketch and place it in Adobe Illustrator. And how do you do that? Before you even go to that, I just keep forgetting, you have to set this up, and I believe you already know how to do this because I talked about it in one of the previous videos. But if you don't, to get here you have to go to File, go to New, and then type this in: width 1080, height 1080. Make sure you set this to pixels, so that is 1080 pixels, height 1080 pixels, orientation whatever, you can leave it at on portrait or landscape. Artboards, 1 is enough for now. Then the bleeds, the top button, left right bleeds should be on 0. Don't touch anything. And once you're done with that, you can go ahead and click on create, but I will not do that because I have done that already. So I'm just going to remove this, and you're going to have something like this. Remember, I've done this already. Now after that, the next thing you want to do is you want to bring in your sketch wherever it is you may have it. So to bring in the sketch, go to File, go to Place, and from there you're going to find something like this. And this is my sketch right here. This is the design we're going to try and vectorize real quick. Now it doesn't look like much, but we're going to try to do something about that. So first things first, you want to make this as small as possible. Let's zoom that out. Go to the zoom tool, hold the zoom tool right there, hold the Alt key on your keyboard to zoom out. Now as you can see, that is my artboard, this is my sketch, and the sketch is way bigger than the artboard. So you want to make the sketch smaller. First things first, you want to use the selection tool, go to any of the corners or the edges and resize. But notice something: when you resize like that, the design or the image loses its dimension. It looks stretched, or it looks squished. In this case, it looks very squished. As you can see, it looks compressed. You don't want that to happen. So what we are going to do is quite simple. Press Ctrl Z on your keyboard to undo the action. Ctrl Z to undo that. Now if you want to resize while retaining its quality and dimensions, you're going to have to hold the Shift key on your keyboard and go to that edge while you resize, and you can, by doing that, you're going to definitely retain its dimensions and quality. As you can see, it doesn't look squished or stretched. Now left click on this, centralize it by clicking here, align to center, horizontal center, and align to vertical center. Well, it's already aligned. Next thing you want to do is, now looking at this, the opacity is way too much because I intend to draw on top of this design, and if I'm drawing on this thing, it's not going to be very visible. Do you know why? Because this is very the opacity is quite much. So you want to make this a little bit more transparent so that when I draw on it, I can see my drawing and also see the design, the sketch behind it. So to make that possible, left click on this. I'm going to go to opacity here and scroll way down to, let's say, 50. And as you can see, it's become very transparent. Now I'm going to left click on. Now another problem is this: as you can see, it's clickable and it's going to begin to move around while I design. So you don't want to, while you're drawing on top of it, you don't want it to begin to move around while you draw on top of it. Now there is a simple remedy to that, and what is that? Left click on this and press Ctrl 2 on your keyboard. Now Ctrl 2 means I've locked this design up. Now how do I know I've locked it up? If I click on it, it's suddenly unclickable. As you can see, I'm clicking but I can't select, I can't even move it around. So we are done. Now over to the fun part, which is, let's design this. Now before you actually begin to design anything, I tell this to my students a lot. You have to understand that you're going to have to first of all look at the sketch and then devise strategy on how to vectorize it depending on your knowledge of these tools. Now why do I say that? There are several ways you can actually design this. A different designer, I'm going to design this in a particular way. A different designer might take a very different approach and get the same result. You get me? But all depends on how you analyze it. Now looking at this, I have noticed that there's a rectangle here. I'm going to draw that, and this looks like another rectangle that is curved. So because of my knowledge of these tools, I automatically know what happened in this sketch, and I also know how to, you know, design it because I know these tools well. And with time you also will. Now let's take this one by one. Let's take this slowly, bit by bit, and we're going to get there. So first things first, I'm going to draw this rectangle and ignore everything here. Why? Because this base is more complex, so I'm going to focus on this. Everything here can be done afterwards. As a matter of fact, it's just a rectangle, one rectangle, another rectangle, and it's done. So this is where the main work is on. So we're going to focus on this part of it. Now to make this happen, you're going to have to create a rectangle, but notice that the rectangle has a little bit of thickness on the outline to it. So to make that happen, I'm going to go to the rectangle tool here. The shortcut for that is M on your keyboard. Left click on that and bring it in here. Left click and drag to create a rectangle that is sizable according to what I have in the sketch in the background. Now notice something, the rectangle has a fill and has a very weird looking color, but we can actually work our way around that. First thing you want to do is change this fill. Now over here you have the fill and you have the outline, so or stroke. You can actually change that by clicking here to swap. As you can see, it's no longer a fill, now it's a stroke. But then there are still two problems. One, I don't want this color to be, I want the black color. Since we are still drawing, you want to draw with black. Later we can introduce the colors. Secondly, this line is too thin, but the sketch in the background is quite thick. So select this. Let's solve that. Go to appearance. As you can see, stroke, we have stroke here. Change the color of that stroke to, or let's leave it the way it is. Now increase this. Let's get some thickness there. Let's add some meat to the flesh of that stuff there. 15. I think this is thick enough, right? I think that should be done. That should be okay. But then the color, I don't like that color. It's giving crazy. It's giving weary. So we have this black color here. So I'm going to bring this down here just to make it sizable enough. And this is exactly what we have. But we can still proceed. Let's proceed. As you can see, we've not even scratched the surface because there's still a whole lot of things to do here. Now that we've gotten the first part out, the next thing to do is analyze what next to do and how do we do it. Now notice that there's a line here, yeah, and there's another line here. Now this line has a curve, this one has a curve, and then there's another line somewhere here. Now looking at this, based on my experience, I noticed that these two lines can form a rectangle. Now don't get confused, let's just do it. Now to make a rectangle, you can actually go back here and create a new rectangle, or you can just left click on this existing one, press Ctrl C, press Ctrl C, Ctrl F to duplicate. There's two now, just you can't see it. Now how do you know it's two? Bring this one here and notice it's still there. There's two, but then there's a problem. Something just happened right now. Notice that this one maintains the thickness 15. Yeah, please be 15. Thank you. This one maintains a thickness, while this other one, scaling it down, the thickness is affected, is now 11. You don't want that. You can actually go back and make it 15. But if you want that to stop happening, if you want to scale your design and still maintain the thickness of it, as you can see, the thickness is no longer there. It's now, instead of 15, it's now 5 because I scaled it down. So if you don't want that to keep happening, you can actually left click on your screen and you can see here, preferences, you have scale, stroke and effect. Uncheck it so that when I scale it, it won't scale. I can resize it anyhow and the thickness will remain what it is. It's still 15. Thank you. 15, yeah. So when I scale it, it remains 15. Whether I scale it up or scale it down, it's still 15. However you want to do it. Now let's continue. So let's create the triangle, the rectangle I was trying to create before I had to explain that. Now there's another line there, the completion of the rectangle. I'm going to bring this somewhere here and just maybe have a little bit more space here. You also don't have to follow exactly what you have in the sketch. Now according to the sketch, this line has to stop somewhere, but I noticed that this space is becoming too small and I wouldn't want that to happen, so I want my design to breathe. So I'm just going to have to improvise a little bit and deviate from the sketch a little bit by moving this upwards, and also maybe move this way so that we have a little bit of space going on somewhere around here. Now you might ask, but there's a curve somewhere around there. How do we go about? And there's also another curve somewhere around there. How do we go about that? Now you're going to have to use the direct selection tool, which is this one right here. Left click on that then left click on the at the right base of this rectangle with the direct selection. So as you can see, there's this tiny circle here. With that circle, left click and drag that circle to curve. As you can see, we've made that curve, right? Then there's also another curve here. Now let's try and bring that out. Left click here, make the curve. But also that it's impossible. Now I made this mistake on purpose. Now why is this thing not working? It's simply because this other curve has taken up all the space. Now notice it's going to go all the way till it gets here. Now when you try to curve this one too, it won't curve because there's no space for it to curve with. So what you want to do is you want to undo this curve and curve this one first, just a little bit, as you can see, just like that. Then go back here, now give all the remaining space to this one. As you can see, it's going to curve until it gets here where this curve stops, and this is what we have. You might actually want to reduce this curve, but I think it's looking nope. Control Z. It's okay just the way it is. Now next thing to do, now you might be asking now, okay, how do you bring this in this line that is here so it looks very neat? Well, that's not much of a problem. What you want to do is go to the line segment tool. You're going to left click somewhere here, left click here, and drag the line over here. There is a problem. Notice that this line is overshooting because this curve doesn't look natural any longer. That's because this line is overshooting. Now you might want to bring this in here to actually make it look nice. It's still overshooting, as you can see. It still continues to overshoot. Now how do you solve this? You want to have a very good look at it. You want to have a better angle of view in order to actually be able to solve this. Now how do you do that? You want to go to view and go to outline, and that way you can now get a better view of this thing and then work on it. Now zoom in and then bring this one just somewhere around here. Now notice that if I try to place it on top of that one, it's snapping. It's not allowing me to do that. Now there's a remedy to that. That's because my snap options, the two are the snap to pixel, which snaps a lot, is on. Now I know I'm speaking jargon right now, but just listen to me. The snap to pixels is on select it, it's on, off it. But then this other snap option, which is the snap to point, leave this one on. There are 3 snap options here. Off these 2, what I'm about to do, off these 2, and leave this snap to point on. Now with that snap to point, notice that I can now easily place it just above that other line, and you want to make sure that this is closed. You don't want to leave it like, you don't want to leave this piece here. You want to make sure that this is closed. Now there's a reason for that, and I will not explain that reason because you're going to get confused, and I will also not show you the reason because if we are not there yet. But when we get there, I'll tell you why. So we want to make sure that this thing is closed, yeah, like that. So we're done. Now you might also want to check out what's happening at this point. Go to the direct selection tool, left click on this and adjust. Don't place it here, don't place it here. Make sure it's on the same line, as you can see, on the same line as the previous line that you were trying to adjust. Go back to the base and do the same thing for this guy here. Make sure you follow the same line, don't deviate from this line, because if you deviate from that line, you're going to open this part up again and you have to edit again, and the circle continues. So make sure you follow that line. And how do you know? Just drag. As you can see, the line is still very visible, so you want to place it right above this line here, like so, right? Now we are done. Now once you're done doing this, you want to go back to the view option and go to GPU preview so that we can go back to normal. As you can see, it's beginning to take shape, right? Okay, so the next in line is these eyes, the first eye, open eye, and this eye that is closed, and then this, the mouth. Now how do we go about this? We want to make sure that the thickness of this eye of the circle is the same as everything that's happening in the whole design. So go to the rectangle tool, right click on it to display the ellipse tool. Now you can draw a circle with this, but as you can see, this is not a circle. Why? Because I'm not doing it the right way. So with the ellipse tool, hold your shift key and draw a circle. With the shift key selected, draw a circle. Now I can use this circle, I can place this circle somewhere here just to, you know, follow my sketch a little bit. If the circle looks too big, I can actually scale it down. I can hold shift and hold alt to scale it down without losing the shape, and also to scale it down following a center of reference. Now we have our circle in. The next in line is this closed eye, which is going to be a little bit more challenging. It's going to require more technicality, but we're going to get it done. Just believe that. So in order to get this in, first thing you want to create is this line here. Go to the line segment tool, left click and drag. Now the line is not straight, and I have a reason for that. It's a mistake, and I did that on purpose. Now, how do you make sure your line is straight? Go over here, click on 0 to make sure there is no angle. As you can see, this line is bending at an angle of 4.22 degrees. You don't want any angle, you want a perfectly straight line, no angle. So leave it on 0. Or if you're very good with maths, you know that 180 does the same thing too. But if you're not very good with maths, just leave it on 0. Yeah. Now there's another line down here. What you want to do with this is you want to left click on this, Ctrl C, Ctrl F, and then rotate this to 90 degrees. 90 degrees is upright, perfectly upright. 90 degrees is the opposite of 180. This is 180 degrees. This is 90 degrees. Now, there are other two lines here and here. How do you get those? To duplicate this, press Ctrl C, Ctrl F to duplicate. Now, rotate this to 45 degrees. 45 degrees is half of 90. 45 degrees, enter. As you can see, we have that. Now, to make this other one here, you don't have to adjust the degrees any longer. You just have to left click on this, duplicate it, Ctrl C, Ctrl F, and then flip it using the horizontal axis, and it's going to work like this. So this is what we have, but we're still not done. Highlight everything and press Ctrl G on your keyboard to group. Now, as you can see, this is a group. You click on one, you click on all, because it's in a group now. So I'm going to try and remove everything from here following this line, but there's a very big problem here right now, because everything here is aligned. These are not rectangles. Yeah, these are lines. Now mind you, these are lines. I'm going to show you the difference. These are lines, objects. I'm trying to be very detailed with this tutorial because I want you to understand. What I'm doing now is not part of the design, but I'm trying to teach you something right now. Objects, line stroke. Now, these are lines. Now, how do you know they are lines? You can actually, they are lines. These are rectangles. As you can, this is one rectangle, another rectangle, another rectangle, another rectangle. Just that they are forming a circle. That's why they look like this. Now, these ones aren't rectangles. These are just lines, random lines. Now, but they are mimicking rectangles. This is because they have a whole lot of thickness to them. Now, if you want to reduce this, notice that, okay, now you notice that these are just lines, they are not rectangles. But when you now increase the thickness of them to 15 or above, you notice they now begin to mimic original rectangles like this one. You get me? So what you want to do is you want to convert these lines into rectangles, and that is what we call a line stroke. Now, how do you do that? Left click on this, go to object, go to path and outline stroke, and these are no longer lines, these are rectangles. I'm going to left click on these and delete this, left click on this. And remember when I said I wanted to remove just this part up here and then leave this part? So we're going to do that right now, real fast and real easy. Left click on this, go to the shape builder tool. Now with the shape builder tool, I'm going to join everything here together, which I'm not supposed to, just a very long protocol, but I'm going to do it for your sake. Join everything there together, join everything here together. Now, as you can see, there is two parts. I want this upper part gone, this lower part should remain. Now, to do that, go back to the shape builder tool. This time around, hold the Alt key or the Options key on your MacBook and Opt key on your MacBook, and then left click and delete. We have just this remaining, but then we are still not done. Remember, there is this circle somewhere here. Now, to create that circle, go to the ellipse tool, place it somewhere around here, the exact center. As you can see, it's showing me intersect, which means that is my center. Hold Shift, hold Alt to create a circle. Make sure you're holding Shift and Alt key at the same time to create a perfect circle, and from the center. Without holding Alt, it won't start from that center. So this is our circle, but this circle is an outline. We don't want that. It's a filled in circle, so switch to outline mode and give it the same stroke as the rest of this, which is 25. No, 15, sorry. Now do the same thing to this. Change this outline circle into an outlined stroke. The circle had the stroke. Now you want to outline the stroke, and this is what you have. So highlight everything, both the circle and the designs in the back. To highlight them, hold your shift key, select the circle, select the designs, and they are one. Now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to use the shape builder tool once more, then left click, hold alt, left click on this, boom, it's gone. Left click on this and it's gone. Now I'm going to join everything here together. It's a little bit different. The circle now looks too big. Now let's adjust that, please. The circle is too big, just notice that. So let's make the circle small. I undid everything I did with the Ctrl Z key command, the Ctrl Z command. So I pressed Ctrl Z to undo and we started afresh. So I want to make this circle more smaller, please. It's looking too big. Yeah, this is better. Now go back, objects, path, outline stroke, hold shift, select the one in the back, then go to the shape builder tool, build this shape, build this shape, build your shape. Then this is the unwanted part of the shape. Now hold alt, delete, delete, and this is what we have. So that's the eye right there. The circle is still a little bit too big, but you wouldn't mind that much. Let's just leave it the way it is. Now you want to leave this to on the same axis like that. Nope, no, don't do that, please. Thank you. So to align those two, you want to also do the same for this guy here. Left click, go to objects, go to path, go to outline stroke, and then bring in a line. Draw the line from the base of this till that pink line appears, showing that you are at the base of the circle. Draw the line across. Make sure the line is straight, 0, at no angle. Make sure the line is straight. Don't include any angle. Make sure the angle is 0 so that there's no angle. Give it a little bit of stroke, 1, or let's say 0.5. Now move the line to touch the circle. Like that. Also move this one to touch that line. That's how you know that they are aligned. Now you can delete your line. We don't have any use for it. Alright, so over to this weird looking mouth. As you can see, it has a mouth here and the lips, or the intersection between the two lips. Now to make that happen, as you can see, we have one part of it visible and the other part is invisible. Now how do we make that happen? We're going to have to create a circle, an oval shape. Now to create that, hold shift, make the mistake, hold shift, that's a mistake, hold the shift key, and that is a very big mistake. Now I'm going to show you why that's a mistake. Delete, do that again, hold the shift key and draw your oval shape. But as you can see, this is not an oval shape by any means. This is a perfect circle, so you don't want to do that, or you can just edit from here, but you don't want to do this. To create an oval shape, don't hold shift, just use the ellipse tool and draw. But if you hold shift, you're going to create a circle. So this is what we have. I'm going to try to mimic what's in the background a little bit while understanding the architecture of what I have already on screen, so that everything looks nice, you know, and perfect. So I'm going to bring this, give it a little bit of a big mouth. So I've created the eyes, the open eye, the closed eye. This is the lips. So now make sure the lips is at the center of the face. Now this kind of marks the center of the face, right? So make sure the lips is at the center. How do you know? When that pink line appears in the center, as you can see, it's telling me center, somewhere around there. When that pink line appears, you know you are the center. You can also highlight and you notice that it's at the center for real. As you can see, this is the center of the circle and this is the center of the line. As you can see, it's showing that they are both on the same vertical line. So the next in line is the line here, but notice something. The lips only happens to show here, this other part should not be here. Now how do we get that out? Go to your eraser tool. Underneath it, you're going to find the scissors tool, and left click on exactly halfway on the circle, on that anchor point at the top of the circle. Left click. Now the other anchor point at the base of the circle of the oval shape, left click on that anchor point too, and we've cut it into two. Now left click on this half and delete. We have just one. Next in line, we have the line that cuts across, and notice that the line has to be equal amount of line here. It also has to be the same amount of line that appears here. So in order to make sure this is the case, you're just going to have to draw one. Don't draw two, don't cut across, no, just draw one line and meet at the center there. You have just one line. Now to make sure it's going to be balanced and equal, left click on that line, hold the alt key and drag to duplicate it. Now once that intersect shows in the center, it means that the tail of the first line has met up with the head of the second line. Does that even make any sense? Now this is the first line, this is the second line. As you can see, they are meeting exactly here. So which means that since I duplicated this line to make this line, which means that two of them are of the same length, and since they are meeting at the same place, it means that the amount of line we have here is the same as the amount of line we have here. And in design, you want to make sure that there's a balance, a visual balance, and this is how I try to obtain that visual balance. You wouldn't want your line to look something like this. You wouldn't want to have a very short line while there's too much here, or you want to have too much line over here. You don't want to do all of that stuff unless it's your design actually. But if you want to keep it equal, you just have to follow the method I followed. But after doing that, there's a problem. Notice that this line and this line, they are two different lines. You want to make sure they become one. Now you might think about grouping them. Well, that works, but one thing you want to do is you want to highlight the two anchor points here. How do you do that? Highlight this. The two anchor points have been highlighted, but notice that this line is also being highlighted, so this long line is joining in the group. You don't want that line to be part of the group. You only want these two anchor points, the beginning of this and the end of this that meets here. You want to highlight those 2 points that meet there, but for some reason this one is joining in the group. So in order to make that not happen, left click on this, go to objects, go to left click on this and press Ctrl 2 to lock this up. As you can see, the line behind is no longer clickable. We've locked it up. Now highlight this once more, then press Ctrl J to group the two lines, the two anchor points, and they've joined together. Now you can go back here, left click on this and press Ctrl Alternate 2 to unlock. And unfortunately, the design in the background also got unlocked. So left click design in the background and nope, not yet. Left click on design in the background and lock Ctrl 2 to lock it up so it doesn't begin to move around. So practically we are done with the inside of our design. So we are going to have to create this other part here. And how do you do that? Go to rectangle. This part I was avoiding earlier on. Now it's time to create it. Give it a bit of stroke, 15. Like so. Alright, so let's bring in our text. The brand name is Art First. Now to resize this text, now the font I'm using for this text is Monument. It's called Monument and it's regular Monument Extended. Now if you already know how to download fonts and install in Adobe Illustrator, please download Monument Extended. If you don't, I believe there's a tutorial. I've made a tutorial on how to do that. Please go watch it. So if you've downloaded the Monument Extended font on your Adobe Illustrator, you should have something like this. Now to resize, go to the edge here and draw and drag. But notice that as I'm dragging, it's beginning to lose its form. It's squishing and it's stretching. So on Ctrl Z, undo that. Hold the shift key here, drag to this part, bring this all the way in here. Now there's too much space inside of this. Left click, double click on this and then go all the way here to reduce that space. 65 should be enough. Yep. You also want to make sure there's breathing space for the design. You don't want to make it too close. So in order to do that, just move this out a little bit so that the design has a little bit of breathing space. Left click on that, hold Alt, left click and drag to duplicate. Right click on this one, convert it into an outline. Nope, Control V. Oh, view, GPU preview, sorry. Right click on this, create outlines for this thing. Don't do that, this is a text, right? Now that we are done designing this, you also want to create another one. Hold Alt, bring this down here. Left click on that, hold Alt, duplicate, double click to delete, backspace, 20. Now type in 2022. Left click on this, Ctrl Z, and bring this in here. I want to move this up a little bit, then drag this one to, just balance everything like so. So this is our design. Now let's create more artboards. Now before we continue, make sure you save your work so that when Adobe Illustrator crashes, which it probably will, especially if you're not using a very good laptop or a very good PC, it's probably going to crash, so you don't lose your work. We spent a lot of time designing this. You don't want to find out that Adobe Illustrator crashed and you lost it, or your laptop switched off for some reason and this whole design has been lost. Now in order to save, press Ctrl S on your keyboard, and as you go into file name, let's save as at first. At first tutorial 2. That's the name. Save as Adobe Illustrator. Save as Adobe Illustrator AI, like that. Now save. Okay. Saving Illustrator file, so that even if this Illustrator crashes, we can just go to file, go to open. Inside of our Adobe, inside of our system, this is the file. Left click on that and you find yourself back here. Yeah, so let's continue with this. Now let's create more artboards. Now it's time to do a little bit of beautifying. Create more artboards. To do that, left click on this, go over here. This is the artboard 2 right here. Go over here, create more artboards. One more. Now go to the zoom tool and zoom in. Now you want to highlight everything here. Highlight everything and group. Remember, I highlighted everything here, but the reason why this one was not highlighted, the design in the background, is because I locked it up by left clicking and pressing Ctrl 2. Now to unlock, press Ctrl Alternate 2. So this is our design. But now let's add a little bit of color to it. First things first, I'm going to change everything here into proper designs. Now these are outlines. I'm going to ungroup this. Now I'm going to select all of these external rectangles that are outlines. Hold Shift, left click, left click, left click, left click. Just highlight everything. Just highlight everything. Go to Objects, go to Path, and then Outline Stroke. And this is what we have. So I'm just going to zoom in right like this, and remove all of these annoying looking lines in between. Using the Shape Builder tool, I'm just going to remove those lines. Now you have to be careful with this part of it. we want to do it like this, and then zoom in like this, and then just work your way around all of this like so. Now left click on this, then you have the art first text here. You also want to convert this from text to shape. So to do that, left click on it, then right click on it and click on create outlines. Now it's no longer a text, it's now a shape. Do the same thing for 2022. Left click, right click, and then create outlines. And this is our design, ladies and gentlemen. So highlight everything and group. So over to colors, we want to do a little bit of coloring to this, and that shouldn't take much of our time because already I have my colors here and ready. So let's try and work with colors now real quick. So these are my colors here. I'm just going to bring them in here. Now left click on this. Now go to the shape builder tool, right click on it to display the live paint bucket tool. Yeah. Now hold alt and select the green. Now with that green, just come here, paste the green here. Select the yellow, hold alt, select, left click on the yellow and left click on it here. Hold alt, left click on the purple, leave alt, release the alt key, and then come over here, left click and paste the purple. Now hold alt, left click on the yellow, paste it, paste yellow, paste it one more time, and this one, left click, hold alt and get the blue, left click, green, the purple, hold alt, left click to copy that purple. Now come and place it, paste it here by just left clicking in there. Now hold alt, left click on the green, just left click, don't hold alt, paste, 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 and this is our design. Crazy looking design. This is one of my favorite designs. So another thing you want to do, now you're done designing, you can actually just press Ctrl S on your keyboard to resave the progress we've just made. Remember, we saved this earlier on, but we've made some progress and we want to save that progress again. Just press Ctrl S and it will automatically save. Now if I want to create another variation, if you're a logo designer, now I'm deviating into a little bit more of logo design and what it means to be a logo designer. So in order to create more variations to make this a better concept, you're going to duplicate this and create a vertical version of it. Now this is going to be a little bit of a problem, but we're going to overcome. Delete that. I'm going to do that using this guy. Hold alt and left click and drag to duplicate. Now when you get here, I'm going to do the same thing I did with the previous one, but before that I'm going to left click and I'm going to ungroup, or press Ctrl Shift G to ungroup. Now we have just this. Group everything here. Ctrl G. Just group these ones. Group these ones. Ctrl G. Or maybe join with this. Ctrl G. Now place this on top of this, but that's going to cause kind of a problem, but we're going to overcome. Now ungroup this one. I want to make sure these are on the same line, so I'm going to ungroup this. Ungroup. Now left click on this and drag. Nope, Ctrl Z. Ungroup this one too. The text is grouped, so just only this outline, just the outline, remember, just the outline, and drag. Alright, so now I'm going to show you one trick. Highlight everything, the text and this outline, highlight. Then before that, right click on the text, left click on the text, then right click on it and create outlines. Then highlight both the text and the outline of it, and then go here on this align to artboard, left click, select align to selection, and then watch what happens with the text. It's going to align itself with the rectangle around it, and then align also to the vertical like so. Now once you're done aligning, you want to group or just press Ctrl G on your keyboard to group it. Once you're done grouping, you want to bring it in here the way it is, highlight both of them and do this to them. Highlight everything here and align to selection like this. No, not you, 2022, not you, not you. 2022, right click on that, create selection, highlight it, do this, do that, and then group that one too, Ctrl G to group it. So highlight everything here and then align, make sure you're selecting align to selection and then align to the sides like so. All right, now once you're done with that, you can then go to objects, go to path and go to outline stroke, and then gradually we're going to remove all of these annoying lines in between with the shape builder tool. Highlight everything with the shape builder tool. I'm just going to hover over all of those lines, to join them and make one and build one full shape. That's why it's called the shape builder tool. Also, you want to, when you get to this curve, I like to view in, because this curve is very important that I don't spoil it. So you want to make sure that you get this right. Like so. Cover that. Now as for this part, I'm going to do just the same thing to it. Alright, now that you're done with that, you can just bring in the colors. Let's click on this now. Right click on the shape builder tool to display the live paint pocket tool. Now I'm going to hold the Alt key to select the green. Hold Alt and left click on green, and with the green I'm going to paste the green here without holding any Alt. Just left click here to paste. Left click here to paste that green again. Left click here to paste the green. You might want to zoom in to continue. Left click here to paste, left click here to paste. So as you can see, Adobe Illustrator is a very, very interesting software to use. As long as you know your way around it, you're going to enjoy it. So I'm going to go back here, hold Alt, left click on the yellow to select it, to copy it, and then I'm going to just paste it here also, and paste it here, and also paste it inside of that 0. And then I'm going to go back, hold Alt, copy the purple, left click inside of the lower lips, left click here, and then I'm going to go back one last time, hold Alt and copy the blue, just anywhere the color is. It mustn't be here, it can also be here. Wherever you see the color you need, just hold Alt, left click. It can actually be here without any design. You can just copy that ash color. But I want to copy this blue color here, hold Alt, left click and copy it. Just come here, paste it. Alright, so this is our design. Now that you're done, the next thing you want to do is this. You're going to draw a rectangle in the background. Now go to objects, go to arrange, send to back. Now duplicate your rectangle, hold Alt, left click and drag to bring the square here also. Now depending on what color you want, you can actually change the color of this to green. Left click on this, copy, Ctrl Z. Let's do that again. Left click on the rectangle, use the eyedropper tool, just click on the color you want. You're going to apply it to that. You can also change this to this, and then I'm just going to change this at first green to same purple. Yellow, sorry. Now left click on this, Ctrl 2 to no. Left click on the design in the background, Ctrl 2 to lock it up. Left click on this other one, Ctrl 2 to lock it up. So you have a background, and then I'm just going to work on what I just saw now. So left click on this and expand maybe. Left click on it, go here, left click on this, align to artboard, and then align to the artboard this time around. Do the same for this guy. Now if you want to do something, I notice that you can't see much options. It means that it's asking you to expand. You might not know what expand means, but just expand. So just left click on expand and we have our options back. Expand the ship, and then you can actually do this. So now that you're done, let us export this design. Go to file, go to export, go to export for screens, clear selections, just select 1, 2, and then decide where you want it to download to be exported into. So left click on this file here, just decide where you want it to be exported into. I just want it to go to my downloads folder. Yeah, select folder, and then I'm going to decide what file option I want. You can decide for SVG, PDF, PNG. You can actually go for PNG. Yeah, that's not bad. Now name it Art First Tuto. Art First Tuto. Now export. And that is going to be the end of our tutorial for today for this art first design. So I want you to give it a try, see what you can do. You're going to get a copy of that sketch and give it a try, follow this tutorial, try to design something very similar to this. It's a very nice looking logo and you're going to do something very nice. Just try it out.